Get him smacked, turn around and give his brother a dap. That is a real lyric. That is 21 Savage on Lil Baby's own song, allegedly rapping about the murder of Lil Baby's closest friend on Lil Baby's album. And Baby said nothing. In the summer of 2020, a car riddled with bullet holes was found crashed on Interstate 285 in Atlanta. Inside was Rudolph Johnson, the rapper known as Lil Marlo, shot to death at 30 years old, a father, a rising star signed to Quality Control alongside Lil Baby, a man who literally convinced Lil Baby to start rapping in the first place. His murder is still unsolved 5 years later. No arrests, no charges, nothing. But here's where it gets insane. The streets of Atlanta believe they know exactly who did it, and they believe that person is directly connected to 21 Savage. Not just connected, signed to the same circle, repping the same gang. And after the killing, 21 Savage's affiliate would go on to rap lyrics that sounded like a straight-up confession on wax. We're talking about a war between two of Atlanta's most dangerous crews, 4PF and Slaughter Gang, that left bodies on both sides, turned childhood friends into enemies, got teenagers killed in crossfire, and nearly caused two of the biggest rappers in the world to go to war with each other. The only reason it didn't fully explode? One phone call from Young Thug. Multiple people died. A 13-year-old got killed. Affiliates got indicted. And somehow, Lil Baby and 21 Savage ended up on the same track together like nothing ever happened. This is the story nobody's telling you in full. From the first body that started it all, to the alleged hit on Marlo, to the confession bars, to Young Thug stepping in from behind the scenes to stop what could have been the deadliest rapper beef Atlanta has ever seen. Let me break it all down. To understand how deep this goes, you gotta understand something about Atlanta first. This city runs on connections. Every rapper knows every rapper. Every crew overlaps with every crew. They go to the same parties, they record at the same studios, they date the same women, and they grew up on the same blocks. It's not like the East Coast, West Coast thing where you got two cities going at it. In Atlanta, the beef is in your backyard. Your op might be your cousin's best friend. The person you're beefing with might be on the same record label as your biggest collaborator. And that's exactly what happened here. Lil Baby, real name Dominique Jones, is from Oakland City, Zone 3, the west side of Atlanta. He runs 4PF, 4 Pockets Full. His crew is deep, they're known in the streets, and by the time Baby blew up in rap, 4PF wasn't just a brand. According to Atlanta police, it was designated as a criminal street gang with Baby identified as its leader in official arrest warrants. 21 Savage, born Shea bin Abraham Joseph, is from the east side, Zone 6. He's Slaughter Gang. He's 4L. He's tied to PDE, paper drugs and extortion. He's affiliated with the Sex Money Murder Bloods. His cousin is Young Nudie. His circle includes artists like Baby Drill, and his people have been in the trenches of Atlanta since before any of them touched a microphone. These two worlds were supposed to stay cool. They were supposed to coexist. There's a famous photo from a music video shoot. Marlo, Lil Baby, Young Thug, and 21 Savage all standing together. PFK, 4PF, YSL, and 4L, all linked up. People look at that picture now and say it will never be like that again. Because Marlo is dead, and the people who allegedly killed him are standing right there in the frame. To understand how we got here, we gotta rewind. Way back before the record deals, before the fame, before the bullets. Let's go back to the mid-2000s. Atlanta's rap scene is the center of the universe. Trap music is dominating every playlist in the country. And in the neighborhoods of Atlanta, young men are trying to figure out which path they're going to take. The streets or the studio. Most of them are doing both. Lil Marlo, real name Rudolph Johnson, was from the 9th Ward. He grew up in the Bowen Homes housing projects, one of the most notorious neighborhoods in the entire city. From early, his name was ringing in the streets, and not because of music. Marlo was a street figure first. He was part of a crew called PFK, Play for Keeps, which originated from a larger organization known as the Goodfellas Mob. These weren't rap groups. These were real street sets operating in Atlanta. PFK was known for exactly what the name suggests. They didn't play. Now here's the thing about Marlo. He actually started rapping before Lil Baby did. In an interview, Marlo talked about how he made the first song and then called Baby and told him he needed to start rapping too. He said he had an hour-long conversation with Baby trying to convince him. Bro, we got the swag and the streets behind us, you feel me? And Baby kept saying no at first. Eventually, Baby gave in, and Marlo would later joke about it, doing impressions of Baby finally agreeing. I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. That's how close these two were. Marlo literally helped birth Lil Baby the rapper. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, 21 Savage had already been through hell. By the time he was 19, he'd lost his right-hand man Larry in a shootout. Then, on his 21st birthday in 2013, during an attempted robbery, 21 was shot 6 times, 6 bullets in his body, and his best friend Johnny didn't make it, killed right there during the same incident. On top of that, his brother Quantavius, known as Tay-Man, was also killed in a separate shooting connected to a drug deal. 21 Savage literally earned his name through trauma. He started rapping using money that his dead friend's uncle gave him for studio time. Everything about Slaughter Gang, about 4L, about his music, it all comes from loss, real loss. So by 2017, both Lil Baby and Lil Marlo get signed to Quality Control Music, the same label that has Migos, Lil Yachty, and City Girls. In October of that year, Marlo and Baby drop a joint project called To the Hard Way. 9 tracks, both of them on QC, both of them coming up together. And around this same time, they're all collaborating. Baby, Marlo, Young Thug, 21 Savage, they're shooting music videos together. They're at the same events. That famous photo I mentioned earlier comes from this era. 4 crews, 4 gangs, all linked up in one frame. PFK, 4PF, YSL, 4L. Atlanta was unified, at least on the surface. But underneath all of that, the streets were doing what the streets always do, and the cracks were about to split wide open. Now, Marlo had a problem. He couldn't let go of the streets. In an off-the-porch interview, he was asked what was the hardest thing to leave behind, and his answer was immediate. The money, that bankroll, street money. I got an urge for it. He was honest about it. He was addicted to that street life even as his rap career was taking off. And according to multiple sources in the streets and in the culture, Marlo wasn't just hustling. He was allegedly using his money to arm his crew and fund operations. People around Atlanta were saying Marlo was getting people whacked while simultaneously trying to be a rapper. He was living his raps for real. And as one commenter put it, that don't get you far in the real world. This double life is what set everything in motion. The murder of Kapo Nuke, December 2018. The first domino falls in December 2018. A man named Damala Norwood, known in the streets as Kapo Nuke, was found shot to death inside a car on Hollywood Road near Boyd Elementary School in Atlanta. He was 28 years old, shot multiple times. No arrests, no suspects identified publicly. Now here's why this matters. Nuke was a high-ranking member of the Goodfellas mob, the same larger organization that PFK originally came from. See, the Goodfellas and PFK used to be one gang operating out of the 9th Ward. When the projects got torn down, the gang split. Some stayed loyal to the Goodfellas name, others formed PFK under Marlo. For a while, they were still cool, hanging out, coexisting. That ended when Nuke got killed. According to street sources documented extensively on Atlantology forums, Marlo and his PFK crew were allegedly responsible for Kapo Nuke's death. The motive? Some people say it was over a girl, specifically that Nuke was allegedly involved with Marlo's baby mother. Others say it was a street power dispute. Either way, Nuke was dead, and his people blamed PFK. This split the entire Atlanta underworld in half. On one side, the Goodfellas mob, Nuke Unit, 10th Ward, and this is the key connection, 4L and Slaughter Gang, meaning 21 Savage's people. On the other side, PFK, 5L, and YFN. One Atlantology user who claimed first-hand knowledge broke the whole chain down. We started as one gang in the 9th Ward till the 9 got took down. Then we split up. We stayed the same 10-letter Goodfella. They made PFK. We was cool hanging with each other until Kapo Nuke died and they started acting different. So now you got former allies pointing guns at each other. And 21 Savage's circle, specifically PDE, paper, drugs, and extortion, is now aligned against Marlo's PFK. The alliances are locked in. The lines are drawn in blood. But here's where it gets even worse. The murder of Mad Rocks, February 2020. 2 years after Nuke's death in February 2020, an 18-year-old named Antonio Jones, known as Mad Rocks, is killed. Mad Rocks was a member of PDE, the set that is directly connected to 21 Savage's Slaughter Gang. He was shot outside an apartment complex on Stanton Road in southwest Atlanta around 4 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Witnesses described a gold SUV pulling up and unleashing a hail of gunfire. Police found 30 to 35 shell casings scattered across the parking lot. 30 to 35. That's not a shooting, that's a war zone. A grandmother living in the complex told Fox 5 News that bullets hit her apartment. Boom, 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 boom. 5 hit my place and all. 1 came in the inside. Witnesses said Jones was running for his life before he was shot in the head. His family described him as a songwriter who attended Mays High School and kept to himself. But the streets knew different. He was PDE, and PFK was allegedly responsible for his death. Now think about this. PDE is 21 Savage's world. Mad Rocks was an 18-year-old kid from 21 Circle who got gunned down. And the people who allegedly did it are from Marlo's gang. The same Marlo who's making music with Lil Baby, who's signed to the same label, who's in those pictures with everybody smiling. The pressure for retaliation was building. Something was going to give. The hit on Lil Marlo, July 11th, 2020. 5 months later, it did. July 11th, 2020. Lil Marlo attends the annual Bankhead reunion in Zone 1, a big community event. He's out there with friends, with allies, doing what he always does. He leaves the event late at night. Around 11:30 p.m., Atlanta police respond to what they initially think is a single-vehicle accident on Interstate 285 near the Benjamin E. Mays Drive overpass. When they get there, they find something much worse. The driver, a 30-year-old man, is slumped in the driver's seat, dead. Gunshot wounds. The car is riddled with bullets. The man is Rudolph Johnson, Lil Marlo. Police would later state that they believe Marlo was the intended target of the gunfire and that he was shot while driving. Footage of the aftermath surfaced online showing the car absolutely destroyed by bullets. This wasn't a random shooting. This was a calculated hit. Lil Yachty, who had been in the studio with Marlo just hours earlier, broke the news on Instagram. "We just did a song at 4 this morning, SMHRIP brother." Quality Control CEO Pierre P. Thomas posted, "So much potential that the world didn't get a chance to see. Love you, bro. It's really hard for me to say RIP. Lil Baby's reaction was somber and telling. He didn't go on a long, emotional tribute. He basically said, "This is what comes with being in the streets. See his man slumped on the expressway, but if you know what's going on in these streets, that's what comes with it. Some people get killed. It's dark. Honestly, it's truly dark." That response itself became controversial. Some people thought Baby was being too calm about it. Others understood. When you're from that life, you process death differently. You've seen it too many times. But the real question everyone was asking was, who did it? Almost immediately, the streets pointed in one direction. PDE Slaughter Gang, 4L, 21 Savage's Circle. The theory made sense on paper. Marlo's PFK had allegedly killed Kapo Nuke, who was aligned with the Goodfellas mob, and by extension 4L. Marlo's people had allegedly killed Mad Rocks, who was PDE, directly connected to 21 Savage. The motive for retaliation was there in neon lights. Crime journalist George Chidi, one of the most respected reporters covering Atlanta's streets, added another layer on Vlad TV. He explained that Marlo's brother had been accused of a gang-related murder in Brookhaven, but the case fell apart mid-trial, something that almost never happens. The judge dismissed the case because both prosecution witnesses disappeared. They reportedly fled to California and wanted nothing to do with it. So Marlo's brother walks free on a gang murder, and then months later, Marlo gets killed on the highway. The implication was clear to people in the streets. If the courts won't handle it, the streets will. There was also a wild rumor first published by Hip Hop Overload and shared by DJ Academics, claiming that there was a $50,000 hit on Lil Baby and that Marlo was killed by mistake. That Baby was the real target. Lil Baby himself laughed this off publicly. He commented on Academics' post with laughing emojis and wrote, like, "Come on, bro. Certain stuff ain't to be posted." Then he tweeted, "Legends don't die. When in the streets know what comes with this." But the biggest piece of alleged evidence didn't come from journalists or Reddit threads. It came from a rapper's own mouth. Now we gotta talk about Baby Drill, because this is where the whole situation goes from street rumors to something that had all of Atlanta talking. Baby Drill is a rapper from PDE, the same crew as Mad Rocks, the same circle as 21 Savage, the same set that's affiliated with Slaughter Gang and 4L. He was signed to RCA Records, meaning he had a real deal, real management, real industry backing. And he started making songs that sounded like he was telling on himself. On a track with Young Nudie, who is 21 Savage's actual blood cousin, Baby Drill rapped bars that made people's jaws drop. He said, "Them dudes are scared of me. I was popping Glocks at 15. Real op killer. I dropped the biggest op at 17. The biggest op at 17. People immediately connected this to Marlo. The timeline checked out, the affiliations checked out, and Baby Drill wasn't done. In another verse, he went even further. Almost caught my first victim when I was 16. Know that I bullied a lot of dudes when I was 17. Learned how to use that pistol. Caught my first when I was 18. He was essentially laying out a murder resume on wax, and the internet went crazy. As one viral tweet put it, Baby Drill previewed a song damn near confessing to the murder of Lil Baby's homie Lil Marlo. Them boys ain't heard Fannie Willis giving RICOs out like it's candy? Now, were these lyrics actually about Marlo? Baby Drill never confirmed it directly. Some people argued he was just rapping, just talking tough, just doing what drill rappers do. But here's the problem with that defense. You can't rap about dropping the biggest op when the biggest op that your crew allegedly dropped is one of the most famous unsolved murders in Atlanta rap history. You can't have it both ways. Either you're capping in your raps or you're telling on yourself, and the streets don't respect either one. But it gets worse for Baby Drill. He would later get arrested, not for Marlo's murder, but for allegedly shooting a fellow passenger in a car, shot them in the head. He was also questioned as a person of interest in Lil Marlo's killing, especially given the ongoing conflict between PDE and PFK. At his bail hearing, an RCA Records executive named Mark Pitts showed up to vouch for him. He posted $1 million bail and got out. But the cloud over his head never went away. Meanwhile, another Slaughter Gang affiliate named Diesel Slaughter also got indicted for homicide. PDE was catching cases left and right. George Cheedy had been saying on Vlad TV and other platforms that PDE was on the DA's radar, and every public move they made was only adding to the evidence pile. And through all of this, people kept asking the same question. Does 21 Savage know? Is 21 Savage involved? Did 21 Savage order this? There's no evidence, none, that 21 Savage personally had anything to do with Marlo's death, but the guilt by association was impossible to ignore. Baby Drill was his artist, PDE was his crew, 4L was his gang, and Marlo's people had killed people from his side first. The streets had already made up their minds, and then came the Gunna song. Gunna's Bread and Butter, June 2023. Gunna, fresh off his controversial plea deal in the YSL RICO case, dropped a song called Bread and Butter in June 2023. And buried in the lyrics was a bar that blew the whole situation wide open for people who hadn't been paying attention. The city clear, see it clearly, I had to state a fact. You still fucks with a dude that done got your partner whacked. Let that sit for a second. Gunna is directly calling out Lil Baby, on a record for the whole world to hear, for still being cool with someone whose people allegedly killed Marlo. He's saying the whole city sees it. He's saying it's a fact, not a rumor. Now Gunna had his own reasons for taking shots at Baby. After Gunna's plea deal in the YSL case, Lil Baby was one of the rappers who unfollowed him. The relationship between them was already fractured. But this wasn't just a petty diss. This was Gunna putting Lil Baby's business on Front Street about something that could get people killed. The Atlantology reaction was explosive. Some defended Baby, saying he and Marlo weren't as close in the streets as people thought, that they were label mates more than gang brothers, and that 4PF had no obligation to go to war over PFK's beef. One user wrote, "Give me one reason why 4PF should slide for PFK. This has nothing to do with them." Others were disgusted. They pointed to Baby's own lyrics. "Marlo, that's my dog for sure. We won't fall out about nothing, especially not about a girl. I really cried when Marlo died. I felt it all in my stomach." If you're saying that on wax and then not doing anything about his death, some people couldn't reconcile it. There was a middle ground too. Some argued that Baby had actually distanced himself from Marlo before his death because Marlo was running off on people, creating enemies everywhere, and Baby didn't want that smoke. Marlo ran off on a lot of dudes, including dudes Baby was cool with, and there was a lot of smoke from Marlo. Baby didn't want anything to do with it. But regardless of where you stood, the situation was now fully public, and 21 Savage was about to make it even more complicated. 21 Savage on Outfit, January 2025. In January 2025, Lil Baby dropped his album Wham, short for Who Hard Is Me, and on a track called Outfit, he brought out 21 Savage for a feature. This alone surprised people given the rumors, but then 21 actually rapped, "If you point out an op, I'ma spin one. We give all of them the belt, then some. Get him smacked, turn around, give his brother a dap. Get him smacked, turn around, give his brother a dap." People lost their minds. The interpretation was immediate. 21 Savage is rapping about having someone killed and then turning around and shaking hands with that person's people, specifically Lil Baby, Marlo's closest friend. He's on Baby's own song, allegedly referencing the murder of Baby's right-hand man, and Baby either didn't catch it or chose to ignore it. On Atlantology, the reaction was brutal. This man, 21, really got on Baby's song and dissed Marlo. Baby is a goofy. Another said, 21 is a real savage for that. That's real savagery. Someone else, damn, Baby really needed that feature bad. Some people tried to defend it, saying 21 wasn't talking about Marlo, that the bar could mean anything, that people were reading too much into it. But when you consider the full context, PDE's alleged involvement in Marlo's death, Baby Drill's lyrics, Gunna's call-out, and now this line on Baby's own album, the evidence is all pointing in one direction. As the narrator of the video transcript put it, if that's actually what he's doing, he is the most savage rapper in Atlanta, and he deserves his name. Here's the thing about gang wars. The biggest casualties are rarely the main players. It's the kids, it's the bystanders, it's the family members, and the 4PF conflict has proven that in the most devastating way possible. The murder of Big Mark, August 2021. In August 2021, a 4PF associate named Marcus Holland, known as Big Mark, was killed. His death was significant because it opened up another front in the war, this time between 4PF and a rival gang called OMF, Only My Family, which is a subset of the Goodfellas organization. According to Atlanta police, the conflict between 4PF and OMF has its roots in Big Mark's murder and has resulted in multiple homicides and shootings in the years since. The Oakland City shooting, July 2nd, 2024. But nothing compares to what happened on July 2nd, 2024. On that day, a shooting erupted outside an apartment complex in southwest Atlanta connected to the 4PF versus OMF feud. Two 13-year-old boys were killed. A third child, just 11 years old, was wounded. 13 years old. Let that sink in. These were children caught in the crossfire of a gang war they had nothing to do with. Atlanta police arrested 7 suspects and connected the shooting to an escalating conflict that had intensified after a music video shoot. According to arrest warrants, APD homicide commander Ralph Woolfolk connected the murders to the cowardly acts of an Atlanta-based rapper who decided to shoot a music video in a location he knew he should not have been. The rapper was not named, but the warrants identified the location's connection to Lil Baby and 4PF. The warrants also revealed that police intercepted phone conversations between gang members discussing the incident and efforts to destroy evidence. One OMF associate was overheard instructing others to get rid of shoes and delete social media accounts. This wasn't just a gang shooting anymore. This was a crisis. Children were dying because of a conflict that traced its roots back years, through Big Mark's death, through Marlo's murder, through Kapo Nuke's killing, through all the blood that had been spilled between these crews. The bigger picture. And it wasn't just 4PF catching bodies and taking losses. The entire ecosystem around these Atlanta gangs was collapsing under its own weight. 21 Savage's personal losses were stacking up too. His brother Tay-Man killed in a drug deal. His best friend Johnny killed on his 21st birthday. Members of PDE getting indicted left and right. Baby Drill sitting on a murder case. Diesel Slaughter indicted for homicide. On the 4PF side, Marlo was dead. Big Mark was dead. Teenagers connected to their world were dead. The police were building cases. Fonnie Willis, the Fulton County DA who prosecuted the YSL RICO case against Young Thug, was publicly saying more high-profile RICO cases were coming, and reports suggested 4PF, 4L, and Homicide Gang were all potential targets. The streets were eating themselves alive, and the only thing keeping the two biggest rappers in the middle of it all from going at each other's throats was a phone call that hadn't happened yet. Now we gotta talk about Young Thug, because without him, this story might have ended very differently. Jeffrey Lamar Williams, Young Thug, is arguably the most influential figure in Atlanta rap over the last decade. He's the head of YSL, Young Stoner Life. He put on Gunna. He helped put on Lil Baby. He's connected to 21 Savage. He's the bridge that connects all of these different worlds in Atlanta. When Thug talks, people listen. When Thug asks for something, people consider it. He's not just a rapper. He's an institution in that city. And according to Thug himself, he's the reason Lil Baby and 21 Savage didn't go to war. In a 2025 interview on the Perspectives with Bank podcast with Big Bank, Thug sat down for a 3-hour conversation where he addressed a lot of things. When the topic of beef came up, Thug was clear. He said he'd only ever been in one beef his whole life and it wasn't even his fault. But he'd stopped plenty of other people's beefs. I made people get together. I stopped a lot of beef, Thug said. I only had one beef my whole life and it wasn't even my fault. I got Wham and Savage on the phone to stop whatever could have happened with them. I got them on the phone. Man, we're brothers, forget that. Wham is Lil Baby. Savage is 21 Savage. Thug got them both on the phone and told them to squash it. Now think about the implications of this. For Thug to say he had to intervene to stop whatever could have happened, that means something was about to happen. This wasn't a preventative measure over a hypothetical. Something was brewing. The tension was real, and Thug stepped in before it could explode. The second transcript puts it even more dramatically. Young Thug stopped Lil Baby from clapping 21 Savage after finding out his people had something to do with the death of his right-hand man. If that's accurate, and Thug's own words seem to confirm that something serious was being planned, then we were closer to a full-blown rapper war than anyone realized. People also noticed that around this time, Lil Baby posted a tribute to Marlo on social media and then took it down shortly after. Why would you post a tribute to your dead friend and then delete it? Some speculated that Baby was getting pressure from both sides, honoring Marlo's memory while also being told to keep the peace. The fact that Thug could broker this peace speaks to his stature. He's one of the few people in Atlanta who could call both Baby and 21 and have both of them actually pick up the phone and listen. He wasn't choosing sides. He was trying to save lives, maybe even the lives of the two biggest rappers in his city. 21 Savage plays Peacemaker 2. By December 2025, 21 Savage himself was taking on a peacemaker role. He took to X, formerly Twitter, and went on a whole campaign trying to bring Atlanta together. He reached out to Lil Baby publicly, writing, "You one of the realest young dudes out this thing. Admit Slime was moving the goalpost and we were standing behind him cause we love him, my brother." He was trying to mend the relationship between Baby and the wider YSL Slaughter Gang ecosystem. But he didn't stop there. He also went after the Thug Gunna beef, writing to both of them, "Y'all fix that, y'all love each other. You knew Gunna wasn't no gangster when he told the first time and we swept it under the rug for you. You know he wasn't trying to leave you to hang. Forget the streets, we ain't get nothing but trauma from that." That last line is one of the most honest things any rapper at his level has ever said publicly. We ain't get nothing but trauma from that. After all the bodies, all the beef, all the loss, that's the conclusion 21 Savage arrived at. He even tried to reunite Migos, revealing he'd put Offset and Quavo on a group text, trying to get them to communicate before their own beef got out of control. 21 Savage was trying to do for the whole city what Young Thug had done for him and Baby. Stop the bleeding. So where does everything stand today? Lil Marlo's murder remains unsolved. 5 years and counting. His father, Rudolph Johnson III, spoke to Fox 5 Atlanta in 2025 and said the family still hasn't had closure. "We haven't had closure yet," he said. Marlo left behind 3 children, now between the ages of 8 and 12, who will grow up without their father. No arrests have been made. The case is cold. Baby Drill caught a separate murder case and was released on $1 million bail. He was questioned as a person of interest in Marlo's killing, but was never formally charged for it. He continues to make music, still affiliated with PDE and still connected to 21 Savage's world. Lil Baby eventually rebranded his label from 4 Pockets Full to Glass Window Entertainment in 2024. A move some interpreted as an attempt to distance himself from the gang implications of the 4PF name, especially with police designating it as a criminal street gang in official documents. He dropped the Wham album and continued collaborating with 21 Savage as if the beef never existed. 21 Savage went from being at the center of murder allegations to publicly playing Peacemaker for the entire city. He and Baby performed together, made music together, and appeared to have genuinely squashed whatever tension existed between them. Young Thug was released from custody after the YSL RICO trial and immediately began working to rebuild his relationships across the city. His intervention between Baby and 21 may have prevented actual bloodshed between 2 of the biggest rappers in the world. The 4PF versus OMF conflict continued to claim lives well into 2024, with the shooting of the 2 13-year-old boys being the most tragic consequence. 7 people were arrested in connection with that shooting. Fonnie Willis and the Fulton County DA's office had reportedly been looking into potential RICO cases against 4PF, 4L, and other Atlanta gangs following the YSL prosecution. Whether those cases materialize remains to be seen. Here's the thing that makes this story so difficult to process. Everyone involved is connected to everyone else. The person who allegedly ordered the hit on your best friend is the same person you're making hit records with. The crew that killed your affiliate is the same crew at the same label party. The guy rapping about killing your homie is on your album. That's Atlanta. That's the tangled web, and it's why this story is so much more complex than any simple beef narrative. Some people think Baby is a sellout for working with 21 after Marlo's death. They think he should have gone to war, should have honored his friend's memory through action, not just lyrics. But others understand that going to war with 21 Savage's entire circle would have been catastrophic. More bodies, more children in crossfire, more funerals, more cold cases. Maybe Baby made the calculation that peace was worth more than revenge. Maybe Thug helped him see that. Maybe 21 helped him see that too, when he publicly acknowledged the pain on both sides. And maybe, just maybe, that outfit bar wasn't a diss at all. Maybe it was 21 being honest about the reality of the streets in the most uncomfortable way possible. In a world where you can have someone eliminated and still show love to their people the next day, that bar isn't a taunt, it's a mirror. But here's what can't be debated. People died. Kapo Nuke, dead. Mad Rocks, dead at 18. Lil Marlo, dead at 30. Big Mark, dead. 2 13-year-old boys, dead. And those are just the ones we know about. For every name that makes the news, there are others who don't. 21 Savage said it himself. We ain't get nothing but trauma from that. Marlo's father is still waiting for answers. His children are still growing up without him. And somewhere in Atlanta, the people who know what happened on that stretch of I-285 on July 11, 2020 are still walking free. 5 years, no arrests, no charges, no justice. But the music keeps playing. The collaborations keep dropping. And 2 of the biggest rappers in Atlanta keep standing next to each other at concerts and in studios, with the ghost of Rudolph Johnson somewhere in between them. That's the story of 4PF versus Slaughter Gang. That's the story of Atlanta's deadliest modern rap war. And honestly, it's not over. It's just quiet, for now.